Strap in for another selection of my very best tips, tricks and cute bits. Let's start by introducing you to the crew. These 4 ferrets are very different. Each has its own character, quirks and obsessions.
Oh, here we go.
You might not believe some of the things they do, but luckily I have video evidence. I wonder if I should have told them about the hidden cameras capturing their every move. Where do you stand on ferret privacy? Anyway, let's spin the ferret wheel and learn all about our floofy friends. Who will be first? Wriggles! Wriggles is the smallest of the bunch, but what she lacks in size, she makes up for in balls. Literally, I'm talking about her obsession with balls. She can't get enough of them. Check out the footwork and the nose work. Look at her go! She has broad shoulders designed to dig, earning her the nickname of 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗁 not long after she arrived. When she's not digging, she loves to leap. What is it about ferrets and rubbish bins? And she's invented an ingenious way of scratching her own belly. But without doubt, my favourite of Wriggle's little quirks is how she likes to stick her whole face in a bowl of water and blow bubbles through her nose. It's a fairly common ferret habit known as snorkeling. Okay, time to spin the wheel again. I wonder who'll be next. It's Scruffles! Scruffles is a climber. She'll climb anything, even me.
Hello.
What am I talking about? Especially me.
Oh dear.
Luckily, she's good at going down as well as up. Well, kind of.
Why?
When Scruffles was small, she got very sick, and I had to hand feed her for months to keep her alive. I think that's why she's so passionate about stashing me, which has to be her most memorable characteristic.
I can't carry the Scruffles.
Mind you, it's not just me that Scruffles likes to stash. If she can fit it in her mouth, it's basically hers. And with a lot of determination, she'll get it stashed away in one of her many hidey holes eventually. Scruffles has narrower shoulders than Wriggles, but she still loves to dig. She lacks the engineering skills of her sister though. Oops, there goes another tunnel. Much to the annoyance of Wriggles. But sister squabbling is nothing new, right? Wriggles and Scruffles are always fighting.
He is mad at you now.
And although they cause total mayhem when they're awake, they have the absolute cutest cuddle puddles in the sleep box at night. I am so glad I put a camera in there. While they snuggle up in the dark, it's time to spin the wheel again. And who could be coming next? It's Luffy time! Along with his bonded partner 𝗙𝗏, Luffy came to me from a rescue centre where over 200 ferrets are still waiting to be homed. Sadly, most of them probably never will. They were at the bottom of the pecking order and constantly under attack from the more dominant ferrets.
Well, even more reason to get him out.
So I knew they had to come home with us. And I knew I had to name them after the anime pirate duo, Luffy and 𝗙𝗏. Like his namesake, Luffy is fiercely loyal to 𝗙𝗏, and despite the terrible life he's had up to now, he's friendly and very playful. Though he still sees me as more of a treat dispenser than a playmate, he is slowly coming around to the appeal of my neck scratches and lots of treats.
Thank you.
Aside from treats, his favourite thing is rubbing his face on the AstroTurf tiles. You can see he's loving that so much. Somewhat less adorably, he is also skilled in the art of 𝗙𝗵𝗶𝗆. You can't have nice furniture and ferrets. While Luffy wrecks my living room, let's give the wheel one last spin. No prizes for guessing who comes next. It's 𝗙𝗏! Although the biggest of the bunch by quite a margin, 𝗙𝗏 is an absolute teddy bear. I know you're not supposed to have favourites, but oh, it's so hard sometimes. He was abandoned to the wild and attacked by a badger. That's how he lost an eye. But he somehow survived and was nursed back to health at the rescue centre, where he subsequently bonded with Luffy. Zorro is without doubt the nuttiest of the bunch. I've heard it called white ferret-mancy, where white ferrets just have this way of freaking out that's so extra. He loves bouncing at me and he jumps so high. And he went crazy in the sandpit from the moment he arrived. It is an absolute joy watching him frolic with Luffy in the sand, especially considering all they've been through in life. They're only 2 years old. And although I've only known him a short time, it's obvious to me Zorro has the kindest disposition. You can tell by the way he looks at you. And when he's run down his batteries, he is the best snuggler. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. So that's my little crew, and we have a lot of fun, which you're about to find out. By the way, if you don't have time to watch everything right now, if you like the post and then close your video window, YouTube will keep recommending it to you, and you can jump back in anytime you like at the exact same place. The wonders of not using playlists, which basically suck. So now you've met the business, I hope you'll agree that ferrets are such interesting creatures.
Why?
In some ways, they're like cats. But in other ways, they're just dogs in a tiny noodle suit. Let's explore the differences and similarities between these popular household pets. All three creatures are descended from their wild cousins. Dogs came from wolves, cats from the African wildcat. Yes, I know this is a lion, but I couldn't afford to license the footage of a wildcat. And ferrets are polecats, genetically selected to be a lot more friendly.
You're so beautiful.
They also all start life in a litter, bonding with their brothers and sisters as they begin to explore the world. But here the similarities between dogs and cats end, and the ferret? Well, it dances to the beat of its own drum, literally, switching between being like dogs and cats in several adorable ways. Like dogs, ferrets can bond deeply and enthusiastically with their owners, responding well to structured training, praise and rewards. Just like puppies, it will take time and persistence if you want a well-trained ferret.
Come on! This way! No, turn the other way! Turn the other way! What?
And they are still likely to steal your shoes from time to time. Cats, on the other hand, tend to act a little cooler towards the biped that feeds them. They show love on their terms, and only when it suits them, but it's always just as precious. Puppies are quite famously destructive, chewing anything they can get their little paws on, and ferrets are just the same, taking great pleasure in destroying whatever lies in their chaotic path.
You're wrecking it.
When it comes to play, ferrets share many traits with a cat. They love to chase wands, leaping and pouncing, and their sharp little claws make them excellent climbers, with a level of curiosity to match any cat's.
What are you doing up there?
I'm not quite sure about the 9 lives thing though. I'm always terrified my ferrets are going to fall from a great height and break themselves. Dogs tend to like play that's a bit more physical, and a ferret can definitely get into a bit of wrestling too. Either roughhousing with each other, or attacking your hand. And honestly, I wouldn't do this with a cat unless I was wearing oven mitts.
Oh no, it's got me!
Another famously doggy behaviour is chasing balls, and most ferrets could do this until the cows come home. Wriggles in particular is obsessed with balls. She also loves to dig, which is another trait enthusiastically shared by dogs. Just watching the way they both push their noses into the sand, it's impossible not to see the similarity. Most dogs love going for a swim. The smell of wet dogs on the back seat of the car. Whereas cats tend to want to steer clear of water. My experience with ferrets is that the girls love a good splosh, whereas the boys would rather stay dry. So that's 50-50 like cats and dogs. Pick a team, ferrets. There is one more thing all cats, dogs and ferrets have in common. They need plenty of exercise and the right diet to keep them fit and healthy. So if your ferrets are being lazy, just lying around and snacking all day, it's up to you as a responsible ferret owner to make sure they eat right and move about. Which brings us nicely to the average doggie's absolute favourite thing: walkies! Sorry if that triggered your dog. I've never seen a pup happier than when it's on an adventure with its human by its side. Being on a leash is not so natural for a cat.
Simon, why you no cooperate?
But can be done with time and a large degree of reluctance. My ferrets don't particularly like having their harnesses put on.
It's all right.
But as soon as they're outside exploring the undergrowth, they turn back into tiny little dogs as they absolutely love it. You're getting to know my little carpet sharks a bit better. Let's discover more about how their bodies work.
Do ferrets like listening to music? Let's find out. My friend Karen here is going to play the fiddle for Wriggles, Scruffles, Floofy and 𝗙𝗃𝗀𝗃, but will they appreciate it or will they shy away? And will they prefer 𝗙𝗃𝗶𝗶 or Beethoven?
Ferrets are very reactive to sound. They love playing inside paper bags. Or bouncing around on a bundle of old newspapers, or snuffling through fallen leaves. The first time I played video on my phone to Scruffles, she got very excited. But how will the fiddle sound to my ferrets? Will they hear it the same way we do? Ferrets have exceptional hearing and can pick up a much wider frequency range than us humans. This means they can hear really, really low infrasounds like the seismic activity before an earthquake. But they can also pick up on really high ultrasonic sounds, the kinds of noises made by rodents and small prey animals in the wild, a far higher frequency than humans could ever hear. The fiddle produces frequencies well within the range of both our hearing, but ferrets are much more sensitive to high frequencies, as they've evolved to hunt small, squeaky animals inside dark tunnels. So as the bowhairs dance across the higher register of strings, will the fiddle trigger some kind of prey response in my ferrets? Will they be drawn to the sound of the music? Or will it overwhelm them and make them shy away?
Are you ready to answer that question we asked right back at the start? Are Wriggles, Scruffles, Floofy and 𝗙𝗃𝗀𝗃 going to enjoy being played the fiddle? Take it away, Karen.
When the music began, there was immediate interest from all the ferrets. They seemed mesmerised by the sound, and Karen played to them beautifully, really engaging their interest in the music, which is, I think, a special skill of musical people. Unfortunately, Wriggles soon unlocked a new skill of her own, escaping from the modular cage. It wasn't a massive surprise given how tiny she is and how big the holes are, so I was keeping an eye out and scooped her up without any mishaps. I got more time to film the bigger-bodied boys as they were securely contained, and you can see again how enthralled they are by the music. 𝗙𝗃𝗀𝗃 seemed like he was in a trance as the bow fluttered gracefully over the notes. I think Karen's biggest fan was Floofy though. Seeing the way he responded to the music was quite magical. I can normally only hold his attention with a treat in my hand. Something tells me Floofy will be dreaming of dancing in the sunshine to fiddle music tonight.
Wow, they really were into it.
They were really into it. Yeah.
They're born for the underworld of dirt and darkness, digging and tunnelling in search of prey. But when they race back out into the world of light and bright open spaces, what do they see? Or perhaps more importantly, what don't they see? All creatures, great and small, have their own unique way of viewing the world. So join me on a fascinating journey as we discover the secrets of ferret vision and experience the world of humans through the eyes of a ferret. Ferrets were domesticated over 2,500 years ago, descended from European polecats to be kept as working animals. Their job was to keep farmland free from destructive pests and bring meat and soft pelts home with the trappers. These small, agile creatures have adapted remarkably well to life both below and above ground, but their vision is uniquely tailored to their underground lifestyle. A ferret's eyes are positioned on either side of its head. This gives them a wide field of view of around 270 degrees, compared with the 180 degrees of humans. This extra peripheral vision is very useful for spotting both predators and prey, but it also means they have a blind spot right in front of their noses. Pro tip, this anatomical feature can be exploited brilliantly to deliver stealth nose boops. Ferrets have two outer eyelids that meet in the middle, but they don't blink as often as humans do, with a blink frequency of 2 to 5 per minute. When they do blink, it's an essential part of their eye care routine, keeping eyes moist, healthy, and free from dust and dirt. Ferrets also have a third eyelid, like many mammals, birds, and reptiles. This translucent membrane, found in the inner corner of the eyes, can partially or fully cover the eye, offering an extra layer of protection. It acts as a natural defense mechanism, keeping their eyes moist and shielding them from debris and potential injuries in the tunnels. Ferrets are naturally most active during dawn and dusk, a behaviour known as crepuscular. Operating in this twilight zone between day and night, their eyes are optimised for low light conditions, with a high number of rod cells to enhance night vision. Whether it's a mouse sneaking out of cover under the sinking sun, or a rabbit racing through a dark tunnel underground, a ferret's wide field of view and low light sensitivity give them a much clearer picture of the hunting ground. The ferret's excellent night vision does come at a cost though, as they have fewer cone cells in their eyes, which are responsible for colour vision. Unlike humans, who have 3 types of cones for detecting red, green and blue wavelengths, ferrets only have 2 types, short wavelength sensitive and long wavelength sensitive cones. This means ferrets see the world in a more muted palette compared to humans, with limited ability to distinguish between certain colours. It's called dichromatic vision, and expert opinion seems to be split about what colours a ferret sees best. In researching extensively for this post, I've read studies and scholarly articles that say ferrets primarily see in shades of blue and green, with an inability to discern reds and oranges. In other papers, they state with confidence that a ferret can see blue and red, but not green. I've also read that different ferrets can have a completely different makeup of cones in their eyes, so I suppose it's possible for both facts to be true. The one consistent opinion is that blues will be seen most vividly, with brighter shades more easily picked out than pale ones. So when buying toys for your ferrets, you might lean towards bright blues for more stimulation, and bedding could be chosen in muted and pale colours for a more relaxing environment. While ferrets may not see colours as vividly as we do, they excel in motion detection. With visual senses tuned to react to the slightest movement, it makes them deadly hunters. It's hard to depict this in visual terms, as it's more of an innate awareness processed beyond the brain's visual cortex. But humans might imagine it as having targets highlighted, like a hitbox cheat hack in a video game, so that moving objects pop out from a muted and low-light background. With so much of their life being played out in close quarters, a ferret's depth perception is not as sharp as humans. This is partly due to the positioning of the eyes, which provide a panoramic view but without much binocular overlap, which is required for 3D vision and pinpoint depth accuracy. For comparison, a ferret's binocular vision covers around 40 degrees of its visual field, whereas humans benefit from a broad 120-degree binocularity. I feel this lack of depth perception is one of the main reasons my ferrets often fall hopelessly short when making a leap for the forbidden computer desk. Because of this shortfall in depth perception, ferrets tend to rely more heavily on hearing and smell as their primary senses for judging distance. Although ferrets do have a wide 270-degree field of vision, the area in sharp focus is limited to about 10 degrees across the midline. The rest is peripheral vision that is still highly tuned to motion detection, allowing them to react incredibly quickly to turn their head towards the action. Their optimum focal distance seems to be around 3 to 4 feet, but they can see relatively clearly up to around 25 feet. That's the equivalent of 4 𝗙𝗃𝗀𝗃s lying head to foot. Because of their tunnelling lifestyle, you might think ferrets would have fantastic vision close up, but in fact it's pretty poor, with limited ability to focus on anything closer than a couple of inches. It's why you always see ferrets explore their surroundings nose first, as smell and touch are their primary senses at close quarters. And so to the fundamental question, do ferrets see the world like we do? Humans rely heavily on colour vision and sharp depth perception, which, as a completely random example, makes it easy for us to find and click the like and subscribe buttons. These traits are less critical for ferrets, who very rarely interact with YouTube content. Instead, their vision is optimised for detecting movement and navigating in low light. This makes them excellent hunters in their natural habitats, but gives them a different visual experience in the world of humans. In bright light, they see fewer colours over a broader landscape than we do, but with a blind spot right in the middle. They will be more comfortable visually in soft, muted lighting. If something isn't moving, a ferret might not see it, especially if it's close up, but as soon as it moves, it will be perceived in sharp focus, allowing the ferret to race in for the kill. So, now you know what the world looks like through the eyes of your slinky-dinkies. Will it change the way you play with them?
Excuse me, I'm being stored. Where are you taking me?
This is Scruffles. She's become internet famous for dragging me to the bedroom.
Okay.
I'm Kate Russell, and before I became internet famous for having my finger in a ferret's mouth, I reported on technology for the BBC.
I can't go in the bedroom.
Get ready for an overload of ridiculously cute fangs as I try and fail to find a bedtime buddy for my clingy ferret.
Scruffles, I can't go in the bedroom. I'm so sorry. Scruffles, ow!
The first thing you need to know is some ferrets have a very high stashing instinct.
I can't go in the bedroom.
I'm still quite new to ferret keeping, so when this short video went viral, it sparked a lively debate in the comments about why she was obsessively stashing me.
No. I'm sorry. You're biting too hard in your desperation to love me in the bedroom because it's beginning to hurt me.
Why do you think she does it? If you have any ideas, drop a comment down below.
No!
And if my mom reflexes just really impressed you, why not give that like button a boot while you're down there? Okay, on with the story.
Oh, where are we going?
After gaining more than 1 million views in a few weeks, it became clear that the internet was fascinated by Scruffles' pash for the stash.
She's sliding down. Scruffles, stop. Okay, I'll go upstairs.
Comments ranged from she thinks you're food to she thinks your fingers are babies to you're going to get rabies to at this stage you should just cut off your finger and give it to her.
So you see she's absolutely desperate to get me into bed.
It wasn't long before people were so invested they began suggesting ways to satisfy my clingy ferret that didn't involve lopping off my index finger, thankfully.
I've got my scarf. Go on, take it to bed.
As instructed, I'd been wearing it all day to get it nice and stinky, but apart from a few interested sniffs, it was clearly no substitute for my pinky.
Isn't that good? Oh, you still want Mummy?
Then loads of people started commenting that I needed to buy her a soft toy and sent it with, well, me. So I ran a poll on Amazon's stock of the finest pet-safe plushies. You spoke, and I got my credit card out.
Sloth and crocodile. The crocodile's actually hollow, but I should actually be able to put some of my old smelly socks or something in there. All that remains to be done is...
For 3 days and nights, I kept the plushies under my top, even taking them on a flight to Iceland. Yes, I really did that.
I feel like they might be cooked. They definitely smell of me, and I did buy a cheeky sheep as well. I'm going to store them in a Ziploc bag, and then I need to take them down to the studio and wait for Scruffles to feel the big love.
It took a few days. Scruffles moves at her own pace when it comes to dishing out the love. But eventually the urge to take me to bed came upon her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's 100%. I want Mummy in bed moment. So it's time to deploy our plushies. She's all awake now.
There was immediate interest from both ferrets, sniff, sniff, sniffing all over.
It definitely smells of Mummy. Come on then, come up to bed. So this has been in bed with me and up my top for 3 days and 3 nights. Are you going to take it to bed? Wriggles. Likes the way it smells, I think.
But despite my best efforts, Scruffles rejected the sloth as a bedtime buddy.
Oh dear. Here we are.
Several times and quite conclusively. Eventually even trying to take him outside without much success.
He's wedged in the
At some point in the night though, Scruffles must have succeeded in getting him through the cat flap. At 6 a.m. with a heavy mist interfering with the picture, you can see her going crazy with celebration. And you'll soon see her dragging the sloth out from behind the small cage. But it seems Mr. Sloth gets stuck again, causing Scruffles to go on another mad leap about, taking her frustration out on poor old 𝗙𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗃, who was innocently curled up in the cat tower. You might think that's where the sloth story ends, but next morning the first thing Scruffles did was check on him, and then make up with 𝗙𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗃 and tuck him safely away under the chair. A little later that morning, Scruffles manages to budge the sloth and brings him out to be stashed under the rug. Well, almost, with all her other most prized possessions. So while the sloth didn't fulfill the purpose for which he was engaged, it warms my heart to see how much a part of her daily play routine he's become. It was time to admit defeat and move on to the next plushie test.
Our croc.
Lots of you pointed out that the sloth probably smelled weird from being made in a factory, and I should have washed the plushies first and slept with them for weeks to fully infuse them with my aroma.
It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it.
After 3 full weeks of sleeping with the croc, I stuffed it with a pair of smelly socks for added pungency, and then waited for Scruffles to bite.
Oh, here we go.
Literally.
I wish I could fit in the bedroom with you.
Plushie test 2.
Scruffles! What's this, Scruffy?
Will our fearless croc satisfy Scruffles' need for snuggles?
You okay?
One of the things about the sloth was I brought it down in a plastic bag, and when I opened that bag it kind of broke the mood a bit, so I'm not taking any chances this time.
Scruffles! Oh, you're going to put him there? How about taking him to bed? Up top. You're not going to throw him out too.
Yes, that's a no then.
Where do you want him then?
It would soon become clear that the plushies were not going to cut it. Admittedly, they were pretty big compared to this dainty little ferret, and whilst the fact they smelled of me was very much appreciated, it didn't get them a VIP ticket to the bedroom.
Is that it? He's a studio floor toy.
Could these ferret baby finger puppets satisfy her pash for the stash? This has been going on for a while. I've tried giving her plushies that smell of me. First came the sloth.
Oh dear.
But he was rejected. So I tried a soft croc stuffed with my smelly socks.
What's this, Scruffy? You're not going to throw him out.
But that was a big no. Then loads of you commented that she thinks my fingers are baby ferrets, which I have to admit seems pretty likely. So I'm going to knit ferret baby finger puppets for her to snuggle at night. One problem, I don't actually know how to knit. Yeah, that's really hard. So instead I ordered a cheap knitting machine and some of the softest yarn imaginable. The initial reaction seemed encouraging until she gave them a quick sniff and then completely ignored them in favour of looking around for trouble to cause.
It's completely ignoring them.
With a little encouragement, I thought being closer to the bedroom might help. But again, this little furry companion was evicted from the penthouse suite and sent packing. But fear not, Floof crew, we'll keep trying. Make your suggestions in the comments below.
She's completely lost interest in it.
Treats. Our furry friends love them, and ferrets are no exception to the rule.
But unlike dogs and cats, spoiling your ferrets with the wrong tasty morsel could cause life-threatening health issues. Here's my guide to the do's and don'ts of treats for ferrets.
And make sure you stick around because later on I'm going to be doing a shocking expose of the treats that are sold as for ferrets that could actually end their lives. Let's get into it.
Ferrets love treats, as a reward, as part of play, for bribery and distraction, and just because of being so darn cute. Most pet parents find it hard to say no when those big, hopeful eyes turn towards them.
And it's not easy to get right because even products sold specifically for ferrets can have ingredients in them that every ferret owner should be on the lookout for.
Ferrets are obligate carnivores and have very finely tuned guts. They digest meat and animal products fast and efficiently, but they can't process anything else. Unlike dogs and cats, which have evolved at least a tolerance to certain human food types, a ferret's digestive tract has remained unchanged for thousands of years. So if you put something in the front end, like processed food, grains and fruit, the middle bit doesn't know what to do with it. Sometimes it passes through with elevated levels of mess, but sometimes it just stays in the ferret's system, like an unwanted guest, sitting there for years until enough of it builds up to cause some serious problems. So when deciding what treats to buy, look out for high percentages of animal protein and animal fat, and avoid anything else as much as you can, but especially the following ingredients. Look out for sugars such as corn syrup or sucrose. High sugar content can lead to insulinoma, a deadly form of pancreatic cancer, which is all too common in ferrets aged 2 to 3 years old. Equally bad are grain-based proteins and fillers, like corn or gluten, cereal and rice. The high carbohydrate nature of these foods mean they'll have the same effect as high sugar foods, causing insulinoma, and the fibre content could also cause digestive issues and deadly blockages. Vegetable protein is very bad. Pea and legume protein are ingredients I see a lot on kibble foods aimed at ferrets, as well as soy meal and soy flours. Vegetable protein causes the ferret's urine to become more acidic, and a build-up of crystals would eventually become very painful bladder stones. the carbohydrates in these foods will again cause insulinoma if fed regularly over time. Added sugars, colours or artificial preservatives. This one is just common sense really, and should apply to your kids as well as your pets. Avoid frequently feeding anything with a lot of ingredients with names you could mostly spell out on a calculator. Even small amounts of these ingredients can be harmful to your bean-footed buddies if fed regularly over a prolonged time. There are also some foods you might have in your house that you need to make sure are out of reach because they are particularly bad for your cheeky little cat snakes. Chocolate contains 𝗙𝗵𝗿𝗄 and caffeine, which are toxic to ferrets as well as dogs and cats. Caffeine can cause restlessness, rapid breathing, heart palpitations and muscle tremors in ferrets. Ferrets are lactose intolerant, so dairy products can cause diarrhea and bloating. Alcohol can cause intoxication, lack of coordination, poor breathing and abnormal acidity in the body of a ferret. Onions and garlic contain 𝗙𝗃𝗀𝘃, which can cause damage to red blood cells and lead to anemia. Avocados contain persin, a fungicidal toxin which can cause serious health problems in many animals, including ferrets. Fruit of any kind, but especially bananas. Being naturally high in sugar, they could also lead to insulinoma. Potatoes. I've heard of quite a few ferrets that like to steal potatoes to add to their stash, but if they're using them like a chew toy, then they will be consuming starch, which could cause digestive problems and fatal blockages, and again, as a high carbohydrate food, it will lead to insulinoma.
One interesting thing that not many people know about ferrets is that they can be really fussy eaters. Many ferrets actually don't like being introduced to a new flavour, so you're not going to need a huge repertoire of treats to keep them interested. I stick to just 4 main treat types.
A daily snack for behaviour rewards and just because. A belly treat for distraction tactics. A time-sinking chew for when you need to keep them busy. And a high-value treat for when their cooperation is vital. Here's what I use. Daily snacks are great for training and when you can't resist those puppy dog eyes. I use freeze-dried salmon and chicken breast bits. Any brand will do as long as it is clearly labelled 100% freeze-dried meat with no additives. If you're going to do a long training session, you could also cook up a piece of chicken. Remember, don't add any seasoning or flavours, and break this up to use as a reward, as the freeze-dried pieces could get expensive if you use a lot. Our belly treat is salmon oil. A couple of drops on their tum-tums will keep them occupied through nail clipping, no problem. Most ferrets love salmon oil, but if you have a ferret like Zorro, who doesn't like salmon oil, stick around, because our high-value treat makes a great alternative for nail clipping day. But first, our time sink treat to keep them busy is a piece of dried meat. My crew like 𝗙𝗃𝗀𝗃 duck breast strips and chicken chunks, but again, any brand that is 100% meat with only a little salt added for the drying process will do. That salt means you shouldn't make this a frequent treat, but it is a really great way to get them settled if they might be anxious. Just make sure there's always plenty of fresh water available, as salty snacks will make them thirsty. And our high-value treat, the one that will always focus their attention, 𝗙𝗵𝗏𝗏 salmon paste. Now, this one is brand specific and it may not work for you, but you need to find something your noodles will do anything for, and it doesn't have to be 100% good for them.
Now, I realise that might catch me some heat in the comments, but before you come at me, I think you do need at least one absolutely irresistible treat to bring out on very special occasions. For example, without 𝗙𝗵𝗏𝗏, Zorro here would have nails like Rihanna's.
This paste contains tiny amounts of fibre, starch and rapeseed oil, but it is mostly fish protein, fat and moisture. You also only need a tiny amount, and it should only be required occasionally. So I think it's okay to be bad every now and then.
I've come inside now because I want us to go on a little journey together. Down the rabbit hole, if you will, although not the kind of rabbit hole ferrets usually enjoy. We're going to find out just how easy it is for ferret owners to fall into the trap of buying the wrong treats for their small furries. Let's go shopping. Open up. popular shopping portal and type in ferret treats. Number 1, Amazon's Choice chicken and liver bites for ferrets. It's got a picture of a ferret on the packaging. It's £6.80, not a bad price for a packet of treats. Interestingly, it's listed item form as seeds. Not sure about that. It's rich in oils and fats. It's made with real meat. It's got taurine in it, and there is no added salt. Sounds pretty perfect. Let's have a look at what the ingredients are. There is no further information here. We can't see the back of the packaging. Is there going to be any ingredients in? No ingredients list available in Amazon. So we have absolutely no idea what it contains, save from it being specifically designed for ferrets and made with real meat. So you'd think that's okay, right? Let's see. By the power of YouTube. Here we are. Chicken liver bites. You can see it is the exact same product. So let's have a look at the back. Chicken 50%, potato starch 20%. Remember what we said about potato starch? Chicken fat 8%, egg yolk 6%, chicken liver 5%, they're all okay. But then we've got glycerin and linseed, bad products, sorbitol food gum, red yeast rice, again, bad products that will build up in your ferret system if given persistently over time. So this specifically designed for ferrets, and I don't know, I mean, listen, I'm just speaking from the heart here and I don't know this for sure, but the fact that there are no ingredients listed on this site and it is categorized as seeds, that makes me feel like it's possibly a workaround to having to put ingredient lists on Amazon. So let's have a look at some more then. We've got 𝗙𝗃𝗏. Now 𝗙𝗃𝗏 actually is a very, very well-known and popular brand. They have something called a malt paste, which we'll talk about in just a second. But this is the second treat, okay? It's got a ferret on the packaging. It says ferret bits. They are for ferrets. Let's have a look at what it says. So, about this item. Delicious treats for ferrets, tasty ferret bits with malt paste. This is their main product line. The ideal snack for well-being and health of your ferret. Ferrets love them. Well, it's true, ferrets do love them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're good for ferrets. So, item form, wafer. A wafer is presumably a food stuff. Is it going to give me some? There we are. See, product description. 𝗙𝗏𝗏 ferret bits offer you your pet nibbling fun and a healthy snack in one. Ingredients all natural. Sounds so good, right? That's it. Ingredients all natural. That's all it says. There is at least a view of the back of the packaging. Feeding advice, 3 to 6 bits per day. And here is the composition, the ingredients. Cereals, no, bad. Milk and milk derivatives, bad. They're lactose intolerant. Oils and fats, okay, depending on what they are though. If it's vegetable oil or vegetable fat, it's not going to be very good. Derivatives of vegetable origin, malt extract. Again, this is super, super bad. This is basically grain processed to have a high sugar content. And as we've already found out, over time, 3 to 6 bits per day will build up in your ferret system and cause really bad health and really expensive health issues. Yeasts, all of these things are bad for ferrets. And okay, maybe an occasional tiny little bit, but 3 to 6 pieces per day as per the feeding advice on the packaging. That's just 2 examples. Let's just dive in real quick. This is the multivitamin malt paste. A lot of ferret owners mistakenly use this paste as the high value treat to get their ferrets to do what they want to do. But if you actually go into the ingredients on the back, I'm not even going to bother to see if they've got them listed on the site, because I'm coming to learn that they really don't
So here we are, directions for use. Give your ferret 3 centimetre of paste daily. This can either be given with food or directly from the tube. Always keep fresh drinking water available. So this is a daily, recommended to be fed to them daily. Composition, oils and fats. We don't know what kind of oils they are, could be vegetable. Milk and milk derivatives. Hello, lactose intolerant, so your ferret's going to have the squirts. Derivatives of vegetable origin, malt extract. And as we've already discussed, a build-up of that in their systems will lead to insulinoma. We could go on and on, I'm sure. There are very, very few treats and kibble foods that are actually only full of stuff that won't harm your ferrets. Kibble, it has to have something in it that isn't going to be digested, because your ferret will only digest meat, 100% meat products, so bone, skin, organs, flesh, muscle, that's it. Anything else that goes into its system will come out of the other side, hopefully, or stay in there and build up to cause problems over time. So kibble does have to have things in it that your ferret won't be able to digest to make it into kibble and hold it together and make it able to be stored, you know, smell-free, not attracting flies. That's all acceptable, but you need to make sure that you're choosing products that have not the very bad stuff and as little as possible of the not so bad stuff. This makes me so mad. The fact that these companies are making profit out of loving pet owners with complete disregard for what their products are actually doing to our small furries. Not only are diseases like insulinoma and bladder stones really, really painful and potentially deadly, they're incredibly expensive at the vets. So if you know somebody who has a ferret and they're not as dialed into this kind of thing, please share this part of the video with them. Let's try and get the word out and help people to make better choices about the treats that they buy for their pets through no fault of their own.
And on that cheery note, seriously though, please remember, it is absolutely fine to treat your ferrets. Spoil those little fuzzbutts rotten, but try and avoid these ingredients as much as possible, and don't let them fill up on tidbits instead of a balanced, good, healthy diet. I know, that makes me sound really, really boring, but you know what else it does? It makes my ferrets live longer. And that makes me very happy.
This is something every ferret owner should know before they need it. The blockage protocol is a feeding process to help ferrets pass blockages, which can be due to them eating something they shouldn't or hairballs getting stuck in their gut. Try this only at the first signs of blockage and call the vet if symptoms are severe. For this process you'll need canned or fresh pure pumpkin puree, not the pie mix. Mix it with salmon oil or a treat for flavour. You'll also need some 100% petroleum jelly. Make sure it's plain petroleum jelly with no additives. Again, mix in some treats to make it taste good. Begin in the morning. In the first hour give a teaspoon of pumpkin and in the second hour a teaspoon of petroleum jelly. Then repeat each hour until results appear. It takes food 4 hours to move through a ferret's digestive system, so in 4 to 5 hours you should start to see gloopy poop the colour of the pumpkin you've been feeding. If no results in 5 hours, contact your vet. To see this protocol play out, check out the related video. Choose ferrets. Choose chaos. Choose a life where small objects are never where you left them and your nose is under constant attack.
Don't bite my nose.
Choose never being able to wear socks again without shoes. Choose being just another part of the parkour course in a ferret's life.
Hello.
I chose not to choose a normal life. I chose something else. The reasons? Who needs reasons when you've got ferrets? But with great fun comes great responsibility. Choosing ferrets means a life spent trying to stay one step ahead of them, filling their time with enough entertainment that they forget their default setting is to bite you then run. My crew have been living in this sparsely decorated split cage for a few months now, and if I don't get some enrichment in there soon, there's going to be a riot. So join me as we take on the epic task of keeping my chaos noodles busy. It's not going to be easy, have you seen my DIY skills? But it's definitely going to be fun. That's a compulsory part of owning ferrets. Maybe you'll pick up some ideas for your own ferrets along the way. Or maybe you'll just enjoy watching me struggle, you monster. All you have to do is choose to watch. Also like and subscribe. Thanks. We've been living up here in Scotland for a few months now, and my ferrets have settled in nicely. But the weather has been so bad. The worst summer for years apparently, so that's a lovely welcome. And while the outside run is covered, the rainwater runs right across the floor slabs, making the whole area soaking most of the time. Ferrets can be very fussy about getting their little peats wet, so they haven't been spending much time outside. Plus, I've really been missing my playtime with them in the outside run, and I'm also not keen on getting my peats wet, or more accurately, plonking my butt down on a cold, wet concrete floor. I've been waiting impatiently for the sun to poke its head out from behind the rain clouds so I can do some DIY and add a raised platform to the runs. It's for the benefit of both me and the ferrets. There is one huge obstacle standing in the way of this though. I'm pretty bad at DIY, as regular viewers of the channel will know.
It's not horrible.
But that doesn't stop me trying. With the sun finally making an appearance, I have 2 tasks on my hit list this weekend. A wire inner door for the shed so I don't need a gas mask when I'm in there cleaning them out, and some much needed enrichment to make the outside run more adventurous. I managed to scavenge a couple of pallets, and I have some offcuts and spare materials from previous projects, so it's not actually going to cost me anything today. Well, apart from my dignity, because carpentry. For entirely selfish reasons, I'm starting with the wire door. When the sun is out, this shed turns into a sauna faster than you can say suffocating in poop fumes. Since there's no room for a proper swinging door, I'm making a freestanding wire panel to slot into place. And yes, I know what you're thinking. A freestanding door? That sounds secure. Trust me, I have a plan. And for all my carpentry challenged brethren, as a certified short cutter, I would like to share 4 DIY hacks with you along the way. Step 1, measure up and cut the wood to length. And here's hack number 1. Do not, I say do not, trust in your own ability to use a tape measure, especially when it comes to cutting wood. If you need 2 pieces to be the same length, measure 1, then use what you made as a stencil for any matching pieces. I didn't say there were going to be advanced hacks. With the wood cut, it's time to deploy DIY hack number 2, metal corner brackets, because nothing screams I have no idea what I'm doing like outsourcing stability to bits of metal. It's foolproof, or at least fall resistant. As the door frame takes shape, I'll hand over to my body double for hack number 3.
These T20 screws are an absolute marvel. They don't crunch up the head like Phillips screws, which is brilliant if, like me, you often have to screw things in and out before you get it right. These ones here I've used today, they're actually a bit long for the job, but we can fix that in post.
The last step in the door construction is fixing the steel wire to it. I had some left over from making the enclosure, so I whipped out my final DIY hack, the electric staple gun. Get one. They're not expensive, so why give yourself aching hands and blisters when you can fire these bad boys in at 100 miles an hour? Fast, easy, slightly dangerous, just like living with ferrets.
Scruffles, ow, ow, ow!
With the door made, it was time to fit it. And you know that plan I mentioned earlier? It basically involves getting the door into the shed and seeing what combination of wood, screws and gate hooks will hold it in place.
And all I need to do is lift it aside like that for access.
Nailed it! Well, technically I screwed it,
What do you think, boys?
but there is only one way to see if my half-hearted attempt at engineering holds up under the assault of a ferret.
Okay, I'm sorry. Keeping you all waiting, aren't I? Hello.
It was the boys' turn first, and they were characteristically unbothered by my hard work.
Do you think so?
You look very yellow in that light.
boys haven't really shown an awful lot of interest in the fresh air, but honestly, it's for me, I think, more than the ferrets, because it just gets very stuffy in here.
So after recharging my cuddle meter with Zorro, it was time to let the girls out to investigate the new open doorway. And their reaction was much more rewarding.
So what do you think, ladies? Do you like the fresh ventilated play area? It's nice when the breeze comes through. It's so much nicer in here.
I have to say, I'm pretty happy with the result. It's completely changed the vibe of evening playtime in here, with the sun setting through the door and a cool breeze swirling. It's the perfect environment for leaping around or enjoying a massage in the sunshine. My God, these ferrets are spoilt. They also appreciate the wide view of the patio and the occasional passing cat. And of course, Scruffles has already reminded me who's actually in charge by climbing to the top to see what's there.
Scruffles, what are you doing up there?
Next morning, I'm up early to take full advantage of a rare Scottish phenomenon, 2 nice days on the trot. Today's task doesn't need any carpentry, so you DIY enthusiasts can stop cringing now. But I have got a lot to do. I'm on my own and those pallets are heavy. But they need cleaning thoroughly before I can convert them into luxury lounging platforms for both me and the ferrets. Which is an excellent excuse to get out the jet wash. I don't know why this is so satisfying, especially in slow motion. I did manage to accidentally clean stripes into the paving slabs, and I'm not jet washing the whole patio, so they'll have to become a feature. We'll call it art, or ancient hieroglyphics. I think 𝗙𝗵𝗶 approves anyway. Now to add the luxury. The wonderful thing about AstroTurf is that it's easy to hose clean, and ferrets love it. But it costs more than laying actual lawn and hiring someone to mow it. Luckily, I've got some left over from a previous project. Yes, I keep random bits of fake turf lying around. Don't judge me. This is going to transform these splintery old pallets into a sun deck fit for royalty, as long as I have enough pieces.
Oh, perfect fit.
With the help of my trusty staple gun, the pallets were soon carpeted in scratchy plastic grass, and it was time to figure out how to fit them in the run. Time to hit the reset button. Stage 1, preparation. A clean, chaos-free space is so satisfying, isn't it? Right, time to fill it up again. The great thing about working alone is no arguments about the layout, as long as I don't put my back out moving these pallets. Variety is one of the best ways to enrich a ferret's life, so I switched up some of the main features in both cages and then arranged the rest of the tunnels and toys to provide the most intrigue. One negative about living up here on the west coast of Scotland is it's so windy all of the time that a litter tray would be pointless. I don't think my neighbours would appreciate ferret poop raining down on their patio furniture. So instead I'm organising the cage to try and encourage pooping towards the gate, so I can scoop and hose it down regularly with ease. With the finishing touches added, I'm happy with the transformation. Let's see what the ferrets think.
Isn't it all different, boys?
All things considered, I'm calling this a huge success. The raised platforms have almost doubled the usable floor space from the ferret's perspective. They've got the dark, tunnely undersides for hiding and stashing, and the top for lounging and chin rubbing. Plus, it's a lot nicer for me to sit out here with them for my daily serotonin fix. Since the makeover, both groups have been spending more time outside and coming nose to nose with each other through the wire. I'm hoping to integrate them into one big happy, or at least tolerant ferret family later this year, so make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss the inevitable chaos of that attempt. For now, this seems like a pretty good environment to continue getting them used to each other. Our little slice of ferret paradise. They train. They focus. They push through the pain to master their sport and compete at the highest levels. Olympians are dedicated and skilled athletes. But these are ferrets, so they mostly just fling their little noodle bodies at things and hope for the best. I love challenging these little rascals to master new skills. It's fantastic enrichment and can help them develop talents that ferrets aren't born with naturally, like grace, elegance, and the ability to not fall off everything. So to celebrate the Olympics, I set up some events to challenge their speed, intelligence, and balance. We're calling it the Floof Olympic Games, because I don't want to get sued by the International Olympics Committee. It's also not going to be as weird as Paris 2024. Well, unless you think ferrets are weird.
Sorry.
Let's meet the athletes. Wriggles and Scruffles are 4 years old, so pretty mature in ferret terms. They've been with me since they were little kits, and we've spent a lot of time learning tricks, like balancing on my arms and standing up for a treat.
Good girl.
Scruffles is swift on her feet and an excellent climber.
What are you doing up there?
She's driven by an insatiable curiosity and the need to protect her squeaky toys, whatever the cost. Wriggles is more motivated by balls and treats. She's the smallest of the group and specialises in getting through gaps she really shouldn't be able to get through.
Oh gosh.
Luffy and Zorro are 3 years old. They joined us last year from a rescue centre, so haven't benefited from years of balance training. Luffy was likely born a stray and is highly motivated by food. He quickly learned to stand up for treats, but his bigger body makes him reluctant to practice balancing on my arms. Zorro is even bigger than Luffy and has the added challenge of only one eye, which affects his depth perception and balance. He also learnt to stand up for treats pretty quickly,
You're so cute.
but is cautious on unfamiliar terrain.
Boy.
Today our athletes will be competing in 3 events. The 5-metre lawn sprint will challenge their speed. The obstacle race will challenge their cunning. And the balance beam will challenge them to overcome their fear and perform tricks on a narrow plank. Which ferret will excel in each event, and who will be the overall winner? Cheer on your favourite in the comments below, and why not give the subscribe and like buttons a boost while you're down there? You know you want to, and it really does help this channel. On with the sports.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Floof Olympic Games. Today's event, 5-metre lawn dash.
In the 5-metre lawn dash, each competitor will have 5 runs, with the best time being taken as their race time. I'm using a combination of treats and toys to motivate them, but who is the fastest ferret? Luffy took his time on the first run, but soon realised there was a reward at the end, and his sprints got faster and faster.
Good boy.
The final run looked set to be a stunner, but he got distracted by the camera, turning in a still impressive time of 4.94 seconds. Zorro had no clue. He obviously couldn't hear the treats rattling, so I ran back to catch his attention and finally got him moving. But toys and treats made little difference. Zorro was just doing his own thing. Final time, 25.20 seconds.
You're rubbish.
Scruffles was instantly motivated by the squeaky toy. The bonus of a treat was just a side quest for her. Each run was as good as the next, and she celebrated by burying her face in Brian's, poppet hole? Final best time, 4.50 seconds. Can Wriggles knock Scruffles off the winner's pedestal? Her first run wasn't terrible, but she wasted a lot of time sniffing from side to side. Once she realised there were treats at the end, she was all about the race. But that digger's body was no match for the speed of her sister, and she ended in third place with a respectable time of 5.99 seconds. That means the standings for the 5-metre lawn dash are Scruffles first, Floofy second, Wriggles third, and Zorro on another planet in fourth place. So at the end of the first race, the leaders board looks like this. Next up is the obstacle race, a challenge run filled with tight spaces and shiny distractions. Each ferret will get one chance to make it to the end as quickly as possible. Who will stay focused on the challenge? And who will fall into the many traps? Let's find out.
Go!
Wriggles was first on the course, and she was surprisingly reluctant to tackle the bamboo bars.
Wriggles! There you go! Good girl! Good girl!
But with a little direction, she saw a gap and squeezed through with ease. Next is the tunnel of confusion. 3 ways in and only 1 way forwards. Will she pick the right tunnel?
Is it going to be the way out? Oh, I'm lucky!
She looked so confused to be back where she started. But the second time was a charm for her. She breezed past the distractions of the side quest section, but as we all know, Wriggles' biggest weakness is balls.
The ball pond though. Oh, distracted by the balls? Not much.
With only one obstacle between her and the finish line, she hesitated at the water jump, but eventually hopped over to turn in a decent time of 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
Go!
Scruffles was next. She was also put off by the bamboo bars and seemed more interested in sniffing them than passing through them.
Come on, you can work it out. Come on, you can do it. That's it.
After wasting a lot of time, she finally picked a route through the maze, and it was decision time.
Tunnel. Oh no! To the back of the start.
Another athlete falls into the trap,
In the middle one.
but Scruffles wasn't taking any chances for her second try. Surprisingly, she completely ignored the side quest distraction section, which was filled with all of her favourite toys and stashables. But after giving the ball pond a quick sniff, she turned back to investigate further.
Scruffy. Scruffy.
Eventually I managed to get her back on track, and it was time for the water jump.
Come on, what's this? Good girl.
But instead of making the leap, she decided to rescue her rubber ducky. Rubber duck stashed, after refreshing herself with a quick drink, she finally made the hop to the finish line, with a final time of 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Next up, it was Floofy.
Go!
It was a strong start, being pushed along by the sound of the treat bag rattling. After being shown a route through, he conquered the bamboo bars, and it was time to tackle the tunnels.
Pick a tunnel.
He raced through the next few obstacles like they weren't even there, but the water jump pulled him up short. First for a drink, and then to be a big baby about getting his feet wet. But he soon realised he could easily hop over it, finishing with a decent time of 2 minutes and 39 seconds.
Well done.
The final athlete on the course was Zorro.
Go!
With all the new sniffs to be sniffed, there was no hurrying this ferret along. He is a bigger boy, so I'd removed a few of the bamboo poles to make it fairer, and he weaved his way through once I showed him the way.
Good boy!
But despite giving the tunnels a jolly good sniff,
Which tunnel are you going to choose? Finally made his choice. No. I'm just going to go over the top as well.
he opted to go over the top like Floofy had. This saved him some time, but that was blown away moments later when he was fully distracted by the side quest trap.
Oh dear.
In typical Zorro style, he took his sweet time over the remaining obstacles.
Oh, there he is.
At last the finish line was in sight, but then Zorro did the most Zorro-like thing possible.
Oh, Zorro, this way.
He turned back to do the course in reverse.
Zorro.
Some intense treat rattling finally guided him back towards the finish, where I tried to persuade him the water jump wasn't a threat.
All you had to do is to step over that. Look.
He took a drink, played with a rubber duck, then headed back to the start again.
No, that's the wrong way.
After 8 minutes and 30 seconds of coaxing and cajoling, I had to admit defeat. 𝗙𝗏 scores a did not finish,
Come here, Trouble.
putting him in last place for the obstacle race. Wriggles was fastest, Floofy a close second, and Scruffles coming in third place. With the obstacle race scores on the leaderboard, it looks like this.
Here we go, ladies.
For the final event, I set up a balance beam in the playroom and spent a couple of hours with each group practicing and gaining confidence on this carpeted plank of wood. My goal was to get them to stand up for treats on the wobbly plank, with their performances being scored on style and balance.
Good boy. It's all right, keep going.
The girls went first. They were nervous to begin with, and it took a few tries for them to figure out their balance. Using a combination of treats and toys, I encouraged them to be more adventurous.
Good girl.
And pretty soon they were running back and forth across the beam with no trouble.
Good girl.
Wriggles was first to gather the confidence to try standing up for a treat.
Careful.
Stop on your own legs.
Good girl.
That's a solid score of 9.2 from our judges.
Well done.
Scruffles was next to step up for the challenge.
You can do it. Yeah. You can do it. It's all right.
So she's on the scoreboard with a decent stand-up, but I wondered if there was a way to boost her motivation levels even more. As much fun as this is to watch, the challenge was to stand up on the beam, which she did pretty well earlier. The judges scoring her a decent 8.6. It was finally time for the boys to shine, so after running off a little steam, I put them to the task of mastering the balance beam.
Good boy.
Come on.
Good boy.
Keep going.
It took them a lot longer to find their balance, with Floofy being far more focused than 𝗙𝗏.
Good boy. Good boy.
Eventually, Floofy felt comfortable enough on the beam to follow the treat out
One last try.
and stop, where he stood, frozen for a long time, staring longingly at it, just out of reach.
Good boy. You can do it. Come on.
Oh.
Come on, you can do it. Good boy.
The sheer determination of that performance really warmed the judges' hearts, who awarded him an impressive score of 7.5, despite it only being a short stand-up. This puts Floofy in third place for the beam. So the pressure is on for 𝗙𝗏 to perform. He's had a terrible run in the game so far, and hasn't even made a score on the board yet.
Can you stand up at all?
It soon became clear 𝗙𝗏 was much happier on the floor.
Good boy.
And my tactic of using a chasey toy to motivate him was a disaster, as it just made him freak out. A lot of fun, but a predictable 0.0 from our judges, making the overall ranking for the balance beam look like this. And so we reach the end of the Floofimpic Games, and what an event it's been. Our athletes have shown such skill and determination, and the final results look like this. Hang on a minute, I'm not having that. 𝗙𝗏 with 0 points on the board? Nah. So in true Olympics committee style, I am randomly changing the rules with no explanation to include a new event, floor gymnastics. There is only one competitor here because no one does this like 𝗙𝗏.
Floating, weightless, underseas, diving conscious.
As the undisputed winner, he scores a well-deserved 3 points, which doesn't change the overall standings, but makes me feel much happier about the scoreboard. Congratulations to Wriggles, who wins the Floofimpic Games with 7 points. Scruffles gets the silver in second place with 6 points, and Luffy in third with 5 points. Zorro might have come last, but I have a feeling he was just happy taking part. That's it from Floofland for today. If you're still here, you're a legend, thank you. It would be great if you could give this post a bump with a like and a comment. We'll see you next time, Floof Crew.